the home of the Maryland Terrapins. CBS Radio's WJFK AM Baltimore. ESPN Radio, 1300. The Mark Viviano Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1. The Dan Patrick Show. Weekdays 1 to 4. Only on ESPN Radio, 1300.
You sound like a bunch of idiots on the radio.
The Sports Idiots. Phone lines are open at 410-481-1300. Now, back to the Sports Idiots on ESPN Radio 1300.
Back to the Sports Idiots. 23-hour break, and here we are right back at it.
Coming up at 6:05, Scott Jackson from the Wizards Radio Network.
Who's going to be on this show at 4:30
I've heard Nikolai Volkov on this show.
Nikolai Volkov's been on the show. Diamond Dallas Page has been on this show. He was on last week. Tomorrow night at 4:30, and Kane on
Kane's
this
going to
show.
be in the studio.
The brother of The Undertaker.
See No Evil, the movie's coming out next week, I believe, right? Just Kane.
He's the only one that matters.
That's all you need is Kane.
4:30 and 5 o'clock on Friday, Drew Nicholas.
He had a good year.
He was leading scorer in EuroLeague.
I think wrestling for me stopped about the Andre the Giant Hulk Hogan era, the time of the Road Warriors. So yeah, that was about when it faded out.
Hawk and Animal.
Costumes that I can recall.
Kane joining us now. Can we pull him up? How are you, sir?
Is this the Sports Idiots?
Yes, this is the Sports
I
Idiots.
was talking to a guy today, and we were trying to figure out the Hall of Famers that are now playing.
In which sport?
We went 2-0 in the NBA last night with Miami Heat crushing and the Clippers outright in a huge way. So the saying is, winner, winner.
Chicken dinner.
I got the lead in. So Michael David Smith will be on. He is footballoutsiders.com. We will talk NFL with him. We will probably talk NFL draft. He will tell Glenn that Kurt Warner will 100% be a Hall of Famer.
Talk about Kurt Warner saying Hall of Fame. That's your opinion.
Going to see the field this year if Kurt Warner is healthy. Was going to see.
Absolutely.
Oh, so Kurt Warner's going to go to a number 2 quarterback while healthy this year.
I think
Yes,
so.
he did it last year. Mike Paskoff. You don't know it's not my show. I'm just sitting in here.
Third show. It's the people's
It is the show of, by, and for the people. We've said that many times. We are the Sports Idiots. 410-481-1300 is the number to call.
Ask not what you can do for your radio show.
He thinks that Kurt Warner is a Hall of Famer.
Oh, boy. These
in the NFL,
kids around here
it's
just
very
don't learn.
ambiguous as to who's a Hall of Famer in the NFL and who's not.
Michael Irvin and Art Monk are not Hall of Famers.
Well, Michael Irvin will be.
Warner's going to go crazy for the next year or two. Have you seen his team? Do you know who he's got to throw to? The fence that they're building around him in Arizona.
You're saying this year he's going to have a big
fence that they're building around him in Arizona. They're building around him in Arizona.
And
he was a backup in New York.
He was a backup in New York?
Yes, I wonder what the shortest career is to be a Hall of Famer.
That is the question. We should find that out.
Play at least 5 years to be in the NFL. Kurt Warner then, because he was dominant.
I think you have to be dominant, or at least in the top echelon of your game.
They're back on the team with
All right, what do you want to know as far as career numbers?
People talk about Kurt Warner like his career's done. Every team he ever goes to wins.
That's not true.
Every team he goes to, he turns them around.
That's poorly with the Giants.
He did poorly.
He's shell-shocked, too. Dude, didn't you see him play with the Giants a couple years ago? He was dropping the ball.
He had a broken thumb. Try and play quarterback with a broken thumb.
You're crazy.
You're saying 5 years when he retires, he's a stone lock for the Hall of Fame. Kurt Warner?
Hold on.
Warner's going to go crazy for the next year or two.
See what these callers.
Where were you yesterday?
I called in, I think.
He looks shell-shocked.
Yeah,
okay.
He had a heavy rush on him.
And not only that, Kurt Warner was good for 2 years, and once one team figured out what it took to beat him, everyone else copycat and got pressure on him and hit him around.
Dennis Green probably doesn't even know yet. Talk about Kurt Warner saying Hall of Fame. That's your opinion.
Got a bunch of calls on the line.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up,
Good.
man?
Wow. Warner is not great yet because he really hasn't done it long enough yet. He had a stretch where he was just lights out, right?
Absolutely. It's
At this
2 good
point,
seasons.
He's not lights out. He's better as a backup. So he's not, to me.
Sorry, man, you're done. You don't get not on my show.
This is a shame. You just cut the man off for disagreeing.
You don't say Kurt Warner's the backup on my show. Sorry.
Well,
You just don't say it on my show. What?
That's not fair.
Not on my
That's
show.
not fair.
Kurt Warner is not a
but
backup on my show.
agree.
For 300 yards, like 5 of the last 6 weeks, or 6 of the last
He
7.
did have some good games at the end.
Name
Play-
Hold on, where did you say
Called Giants in the Arizona
Ben.
Cardinals.
Listen to me, you're a Giants fan, right?
Yes.
Okay, so 2 years ago, when Tiki Barber was when they were 6-2, the year before that Giants team was one of the worst teams in the NFL. That's how they got the pick to get Eli Manning.
All right, he's like Ron Smith.
2 Super Bowls, not on
Once
my
again,
show.
favorable he's had.
Well, it was 2 a minute ago, and then it was
do you
2,
want
and he
to-
got 2, and he got a team off to a good start every year, and now it's 4. Stone lock.
Kurt Warner has another few years where he puts up massive numbers.
Massive numbers.
Massive numbers. It's got to be the type of numbers
What
that
do
he
you
put
think
up.
his numbers were last year, just out of curiosity? Like in the
I have no
bottom
idea,
3 or
actually.
5 in the league?
Fairly mediocre. How many games did he play? 8?
For 300 yards, like 5 of the last 6 weeks, or 6 of the last
He
7.
did have some good games at the end.
As to what your opinion of the Hall of Famer is.
Right.
It's got to be the greatest player during their era, I think makes a Hall of Famer.
The greatest player, only one
Yeah.
player.
On their team or in their league is Barry Sanders. 2 years where he played every game for St. Louis.
Does it
1
matter
year.
if he played every game or not?
No,
What does that have to
his
do
numbers,
with
what
the
his
price of
numbers
eggs?
He's
were.
got to be able to do something.
He was the best quarterback.
If he can't play, you can't do anything.
He was
Participated in 10 games.
You just go to the passing leaders of the NFL.
He's not going to rank up there because he only
He
played
didn't play
10
enough
games.
Right. He's not going to be up there with
How many
with the-
games do you have to play? How many quarterbacks started all 16 games last year?
64% completion percentage.
Okay, what was his quarterback
That's
rating?
not bad. 2 or 3.
No, much more than that. Favre would be
Favre
one.
is the one, you know.
Seattle,
He hasn't missed a game in 10.
Brady, them all.
Peyton Manning, Hasselbeck's
Okay.
a guarantee.
Trent
Frank
Green.
Green, Carson Palmer, Peyton Manning. 15 games.
Hey,
Fine.
what we said start
Top
every game.
five. Top five. Brady, Green, Favre, Palmer, and Manning.
All better than Kurt Warner at this stage because Warner's washed. He's washed. I'm telling you.
Washed.
Best quarterback in the league 2 years in a row.
Yeah, he's got to be
And
able
that's
to
it.
I think it was 2 out of 3 years.
Okay, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And
Goodbye,
that's it.
Kurt Warner. Goodbye. Your career.
Goodbye. Keep going.
No, that's top 5.
I didn't ask for the top
Brady,
5.
Green.
I asked where Warner was.
Where- Sometimes you make your predictions, and that's what makes this interesting. Craig Lehman still thinks that Kurt Warner.
He's
team
in
will win
Arizona.
that. Will win that.
Arizona. Did they
Nowhere
win
near the-
last?
They have not won
It's
yet.
subtle.
They have not won
It's-
yet. I could be wrong.
Not only a Hall of Famer, but we used to have a big season. You're saying this year he's going to have a big.
Talk about Kurt Warner like his career's done.
Oh, it
Every
is.
team he
It
ever
is.
goes to wins.
That's not true.
Every team he goes to, he turns them
That's
around.
not
Oh,
true. The
well,
Giants.
the
He did poorly with the Giants.
At the midway point through the year, Tiki
Gotcha.
Barber was a candidate for MVP
Right.
of
They
the
were
league.
5
They
or
were
5 and
2.
4 because he lost. Then they benched
Yes.
Hilliard and Shockey. So I mean that's good weapons, but the line sucked. And if Warner
But that
doesn't have a
same team
line,
you just mentioned from the year before was the worst team in the NFL, one of the worst teams.
Well.
Wherever he goes, the team will win.
Who are still
that are still
today,
playing,
right.
and I think Kurt.
because you got to go
Talking about him
last
like
year's
he's washed
numbers,
up. He's in the middle of the pack with a team that had no offensive line and
80.
no running game. The worst running game in the
Patrick.
entire league.
85.
Entire league.
What?
What?
The Giants?
No, Kurt
No,
Warner
you
was
said
on
the
Arizona
Cardinals
last year.
Cardinals. Nobody knows.
His career's done.
Oh, it
Every
is.
team he
It
ever
is.
goes to wins.
That's not true.
Kurt Warner is not a backup.
Warner's going to go crazy for the next year or two, assuming he stays healthy.
Find that offensive line.
I think the offensive line might get it together now that you're in James. I have a feeling.
5 and 11. That's a pretty good number.
Warner's fuck. Baltimore's ESPN Radio. What do you got to
Make
say?
this quick. This is the most ludicrous 29 minutes of radio I've ever heard. Kurt Warner is no better than a backup now. He was all a product of the system. If average at best, if not a backup since then.
Last year.
1-481-1300. Good luck getting in. What say you, sir?
Where are you yesterday?
I called in and thank you.
ESPN Radio, how are you? What's up, man?
Yo, I was enjoying the conversation right there.
What's up, man?
Yo, I was enjoying the conversation right there.
What's up, man?
Yo, I was enjoying the conversation right there.
What's up, man?
Yo, I was enjoying the conversation right there.
Like our show in minutes.
Well, he called, didn't he?
He did. I'm
We
glad
do tape the
because
show.
Coming
Smushed
on.
around here.
go time.
Yeah, now it's good.
I'm
We
glad
do tape the
because
show. They haven't won yet. They haven't won yet. They haven't won
it's
yet.
out on a limb sometimes and make your predictions, and that's what makes this interesting. Craig Lehman still thinks that Kurt Warner